G'day legends and welcome back to another episode of Chasing Better with Knoxy. The podcast is up and running again for season 3, that's right. Me yammering on with some amazing guests like Mr. Thomas here. He's super nervous, super excited, all rolled into one for his first big chat about his journey. He has an incredible story. In my opinion, he's extremely lucky to be here and we're going to find out why coming up in the chat today. So like always guys, make sure to check out the other episodes on the channel if you haven't already. There's some incredible stories of weight loss, fat loss, muscle gain, better lives, all that sort of cool stuff as we're all about. And yeah, if this inspires you to take that first step, well, we've already won the game in my opinion, which is really cool. So Mr. Thomas, how are you, sir?
Good, yourself?
Good man, you're looking well for first thing on a Saturday morning. It is very, very cool that you were able to join us today. And I suppose probably the real question is, let's wind it right back to the start and find out where you were at. Now you had a big car accident that you were involved in. Can you tell us a little bit about that, brother?
Yep. February 2021, was involved in a car accident. Essentially rolled over in the car quite a few times. And then following that, I was placed into a coma for a month, and then followed with being in another hospital rehabilitation for another 4 or 5 months afterwards. And in that initial process, mum and dad and brother were told that I essentially might not wake up from the coma.
Yeah, right.
So mum came up that first night, dad stayed home, but dad got a call from the hospital to say, come up now, because he probably won't make it through it. And then after waking up, essentially told, to prepare myself for never being able to walk again, and, a lot of struggles was gonna follow. And then follow up from hospital, was rehabilitation for about 3 years with my OT hand specialist.
Yeah.
So essentially I was fine, everything else fixed itself, but I popped out 3 nerves in my right arm out of my shoulder. So that came with what they called dead fish in water. So I couldn't straighten my arm more than about 45 degrees.
It's a lovely name for it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
They try their best, that's right.
And I had 0 hand mobility.
Right.
So I couldn't move my hand at all, nothing in the wrist, and couldn't straighten my arm.
So it pretty much would have been what, like a claw sort of club?
Yeah, it was sort of like
doing nothing.
Like a claw, sort of like that.
Right. Okay.
Dead fish in water.
Yeah.
Just, couldn't do anything with it. It was just there.
Okay.
That followed with 3 surgeries afterwards and 3 years of weekly appointments with my OT specialist, and then got to where I am now. Got signed off with about 80% movement in my hand.
Okay.
So pretty good from what was expected to be for me.
So pretty much your entire right side was going to have little to if nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where you were initially at?
That's where it was, yeah.
It was... So like what was going through your head at that stage is like, I'm going to have to change how the house is, I'm going to have to change, like am I in a wheelchair? Like where was your headspace at when you first found out that?
It wasn't a good headspace.
Of course.
Definitely.
Injuries suck no matter how small or big they are.
Yeah. And, before the accident, I was a big footy player. Loved driving, loved operating machinery, loved farming, and all that stuff. So, essentially when it first happened, I thought my life was over. Thought, I'm just living. It's not going to be a good life.
Just kind of like a shell.
Yeah.
Like it's just you're just a body, right?
Yeah, I was a live fish in water.
Yeah. Glass half full. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously with the accident, that followed with PTSD, and a lot of things like that. So in terms of a mental health space, wasn't a good place straight afterwards, which came with, suicidal thoughts and essentially a couple of times getting very close to following through with that.
How did you kind of what did you have available to you to kind of combat that, to get through that?
Yeah, so I suppose going through it, there was always support there. There was always services there for me, because anyone that goes through it is going to struggle with that sort of stuff. And I was luckily enough, my family was as supportive as anything. And if I didn't have them by my side through it all, I probably wouldn't. It'd be a different story. So there was a lot of health services and support that followed all that, and helped greatly for sure.
So as part of your recovery, was it straight away that you started to see a little bit of movement in the hand, like with obviously the therapist and the therapy and all that sort of stuff? Was it, did it take long for that?
Yeah, so the first surgery I had was basically a nerve relocation. And
you got your leg in your arm or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. that was the second surgery, actually. But yeah, the first surgery was essentially, the way I like to describe it as a farmer, an electric fence. So when an electric fence isn't working, you find a source from somewhere else. Connect that to that fence.
Ooh, I like that analogy. I'm a fan of a good analogy.
Yeah, so for the movement of closing my fingers, it was the nerve that bends my arm like that, and then for going outwards, it was the nerve that's straight in my arm.
Yeah, right.
So everything was rewired, but it wasn't. I didn't see any signs of movement for close to a year.
Yeah, right.
So it was.
It's like they created a new arm.
Yeah, essentially. It wasn't a year until I saw any progress in that. Doing weekly OT appointments, and following that, I had to do lots of movements and work off my own back at home. So yeah, it was definitely hard. Me feeling as though I was putting in so much work and not seeing any results as of yet. So that was definitely a hard process as well, for sure.
So when did you start, because you were training by yourself in a just 24-hour gym before you came and joined us? How did you go about that? Did you just kind of use workout programs online? Did you, because I think you'd met Adia by that stage, about then. So you had a partner and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. So you've got someone to kind of share your time with and work through stuff mentally. What sort of stuff were you doing to train by yourself once you could?
So when I initially started training, my brother's a big gym freak and all that. So I got him to help me with a couple, workouts and stuff I wanted to do. I more wasn't going to the gym, to get big and strong and all that. It was more a way of me keeping my body moving. And a way for me to feel better.
Because you couldn't play footy and stuff like that.
So I couldn't play footy and all that sort of stuff. So that was the way of me still regaining that part of my life. But I was also very nervous and scared of what people would think coming in, needing straps and bands and all that thing. So I suppose I wasn't able to train to a full level because I was always worried what people were thinking of when they saw me.
So the crazy thing is, right, like, and the reason I bring this up is you're not a heavily overweight guy, right?
No.
And when you first started training, you weren't like 50 kilos overweight or anything like that, right? So
Definitely.
the fascinating thing is that there's always that fear of the unknown. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
And when it comes to training, sometimes you just have to get through that first session and realize,
Yeah.
oh, well, I didn't catch fire walking into the gym.
Yeah.
The floor didn't open up and swallow me, you know, like
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And these are the thoughts that goes through people's heads
Yeah,
from,
for
from
sure.
the mental side of things.
Yeah.
And I think yours is obviously amplified 1,000 times because of your injuries.
Yeah.
And that fear of the unknown. Did it take long to realize, oh, I actually can do a fair bit of stuff now that I've got just that general usage back?
Yeah, so, you know, when I started seeing the results of my hands starting to come back and that sort of thing, yeah, I noticed massive results. I was back driving, lifting weights at work and doing that sort of thing. And it was actually Adia that helped me realise people at the gym don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, they're too busy doing their workouts and, you know...
They're all going through their own shit, right?
Yeah, yeah, and essentially you might use weights to do a deadlift to hold on to, use straps to, when you're doing deadlift, to help you hold on to the bar for heavier weights. So that definitely made me realise people don't care. And most of the time they're not even aware of you because they're trying so hard to work on themselves. So it was definitely a process, but yeah, eventually I was able to realise it doesn't really matter.
Awesome. At all. Good shit, man. So now that you've been training for a while, you've got that discipline around training, you miss it when you don't get to a session. I know that because I've heard some messages from you, which is awesome. What's some of your biggest wins you've seen, not only around the hand, but also from like the mental health side of things? Obviously you shared a lot of those personal little victories with me. Like for the guys out there that, again, might not necessarily be as injured as you are or were, but for those that are kind of struggling through, you know, why am I doing this, all that sort of stuff, because it is a headspace thing to start with.
Sure.
Like what have been your biggest victories since you've been training now?
For me, one of the biggest victories was learning more about my body. Learning the way it moves, what affects it, what can help it grow. And a big one was the amount your food intake can affect that. Which you and Adia have helped me realise that. And
we might even get you cooking at home one day, huh?
Oh, don't push it. Don't push it. Yeah, you know, you learn so much about how the body works, and it's such a fascinating thing to know. And just to see the little wins of getting new PBs or whatever it might be, it's just great. And yeah, you learn so much and have so many wins inside of the gym, and everyone just wants to help you, especially here. Everyone's a team, everyone's a teammate, and they're just trying to see you win, trying to help you succeed in your own personal journey. So,
and to give some insight, you're now deadlifting what, 100 plus kilos?
Yeah.
Now again, you do use assistance, which is again, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's essentially finding ways to manage getting around the obstacles that your hand and leg give you. But obviously your strength has come leaps and bounds since you've been here. But I mean, yeah, you're deadlifting over 100 kilos. You can do pull-ups, chin-ups, all that sort of stuff assisted. You've got your cool little hand devices, so your grips and your hooks and things like that, which, again, if you look maybe 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have had access to that sort of stuff. So,
no, definitely not.
Technology's definitely coming a long way with that, which is really, really cool. And for me, it's been exciting to test out new things to see what you can do. Because that's what I'm big on. It's like, hey, let's find out what you can do right now and then see if we can grow from that.
Grow on that.
And yeah, no, I think it's been really powerful to see your journey. And do you find now that the story's changed in the way that you don't see it as a bad thing to tell people about now.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to share it, and hence you're here today as well.
Yeah.
So do you find that that's a lot easier now?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I used to see it all as a burden and an enemy. But being here, training with you has helped me embrace it and realise it's not an enemy.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's part of what makes you you, right?
It's made me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I probably wouldn't change any of the journey I've gone through because it's made me who I am today. And yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. But I hope it can inspire others to get out there and really try to push through it, for sure.
Now, I challenged you a couple of weeks ago to do a post about what you've been able to achieve.
Yeah.
What was the feedback around that? Now, that was into a group of people that have had similar styles of injuries to yours?
Yeah, it was, yep.
How did that go?
Yeah, that was, you know, it was amazing to see the positive reaction and feedback from that, and how I was able to inspire other people to get them, you know, as sort of a kickstart for them, to know that they're not alone, and there is other people going through, you know, everyone has their own battle as to what that might be. Yeah, it was really positive feedback, and I had quite a few people message me and comment on it, you know, saying it was inspiring and motivating them. So yeah, it was such positive feedback.
Fantastic. From it. Good, man. It's good to get it off the chest every now and then, isn't it?
It is, and I felt a lot better afterwards, for sure.
Very cool. Well, as you can see, guys, that was a incredible story. Like I said, Tom's very lucky to be here, and now he is taking every day as a blessing, I can imagine. And has come leaps and bounds. The fact that the stuff that he's able to do now compared to what I was initially told he wouldn't be able to do is phenomenal. It's very, very cool. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for coming in today, man, and sharing your story. I know it would have been tough at first, but like I said, your story is now changing to something that can now inspire and have that ripple effect on others.
For sure.
Like our other guys that have chatted on here about their weight loss or strength gains or whatever, it's really cool to share those stories better, because there is always going to be someone out there that is having a rough time or doesn't know where to start or whatever. So as always, guys, if you are needing help with your fitness and training, drop us a message. I don't care whether you're big, small, thin, tall, whatever. We can get you started with something, and or at least guide you into somewhere that can help. There is so many different avenues out there, guys, and as you can see, even with Tom's background and injuries, we've been able to make it possible so that he can lead a better quality of life. So that's another episode done, guys. Thanks for joining us, and like I said, if you haven't checked out the other episodes, check them out ASAP, and we'll see you in the next one.